Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm back and I'm mad!
Welcome, you lot. Hello, Crispin, Dutch, Demon Sub, Danley, Bunze kaput. How's your head, Pete? And with me, as always, is Silent Jerry, currently contemplating the meaning of life.
I'm reading the chat, trying to work out what's going on there.
Oh, possibly bad things.
No, weirdly not.
Oh, Crispin, you actually found it. That's very nice of you. I shall send you my my address address later in on the Discords.
What's he getting Boba Fett's spaceship for?
I'm going to paint it pink.
Nice. Nice. It's a good way to go. I should show you the pictures of the person who had a Legion game with her Mandalorians. They were very, very poppy coloured Mandalorians. None of this paint them up like Clan Ren shite. They all looked like they've just stepped out of the Mandalorian TV show. They were great.
Yeah, and I saw a very short recap of a cartoon version of The Mando, which was... Did you see that? It was basically the Mandalorian flying in his ship, the child on the seat vomiting. He's lowering the window. The child is sucked out the window. He closes the window. End credits.
Nice. It's the way to go, certainly. It is the way to go.
Only called The Mando.
I've seen somebody had redone the opening credits but changed it to the Baby Yoda show. It's good.
The Baby Yoda show, yeah. I think it would lend itself to some weird shenanigans like that. So, what did you bring us today?
I found things on the internet.
So let's have a look-see.
I do feel like going full Jeremy Clarkson. This week on the internet, I found this.
Sometimes my genius amazes me.
Pretty much. Pretty much. By the way, if people aren't watching Jeremy Clarkson's Amazon show where he farms...
Oh, that's hilarious.
Fucking amazeballs. Caleb is great. There could be a whole show of Caleb just taking the piss out of Clarkson, telling me he's an idiot and can't farm.
Yeah, how far into the show are you?
4. So episode 5's coming next. Pandemic's just started.
Look forward to the final season. It's the best thing. The last episode they mostly spoiled in the teaser trailer, but it's so sudden it makes you burst out laughing.
It's alright. I haven't seen the teaser trailer since last year when they were teasing it. So I have fucking no idea what was in that anymore.
Yeah, the one of the biggest laughs I had was when he came along with his tractor. What was it? A Lamborghini. Yeah, and it's too big for his shed.
Too big for his shed, too big for his fields, and too big to hook up any farm equipment.
No, he couldn't hook up the farm equipment because he imported it from Germany and it has the wrong hooking.
Which I imagine is just because it's big. It's bigly. Had to put a smaller winky on it.
Immense hooks.
Yeah. Sidetrack the hooks. I think you'll find, Doug, that I've been very on point with the Genesis and taking only the barest minimum of time to talk about the things. And only when absolutely necessary. So there you go.
Yeah, so first entry of the day then is Soap Dodger being weird.
Hola, Graham. And Chaos. Yeah, Soap has ploughed on. We've seen his first one from his box, but now he's actually gone the whole hog and painted the entire, essentially, starter box.
I remember discussing the diorama he made for the photographies. The backdrop, that word eludes me.
Best skill, Crispin, infinite. But yeah, there's a host of weird-looking miniatures. Pun not intended. Creepy hunchback freaks and some sort of evil chihuahua. I say some sort of evil chihuahua. Is there any other type of chihuahua?
No. Nope.
But
But this one actually seems to be dangerous because he's got something.
I think they're all dangerous Chihuahuas. They're like a haggis. They'll zip up your trouser leg and latch on. That's why Scotsmen wear kilts. The minute one starts scuttling up your leg, you can just weak it off. Because if you got a pair of trousers, you're done for.
Yeah, you simply just cut off your leg at that point.
I really like I hadn't noticed it on his Infinity stuff before. Maybe it is there. But there's a certain amount of texturing with Soap's painting where it's almost colours are stippled on in layers to get a depth on it. You can see it particularly on the Chihuahua's backside and on the arm that it's eating. But they're just really nice. I am a fan. Ich bin ein Fan, which may or may not be what it means. Pretty sure the blood splatter is inconsistent with a circular saw, mind you.
Yeah, we don't want to get forensic now, do we?
There's only one way to test it, though. Find yourself something and get a wee circular saw and go zim, zim, zim.
I love the glowing vomit.
Yeah, well, toxic sludge for the win. And the OSL that comes with it is just spectacular.
Yeah, that's
reminds me
one
of
hell of a paint job.
Reminds me of Nax Ramis, having flashbacks, or the undead side of Stratham. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I keep avoiding weird and Malifaux, and I will continue to do so despite what's going on here.
Because?
No, there are plenty of other things I'm avoiding doing. Why would I add any more to avoid to do?
You need to start avoiding.
I've no money for it anyway.
No, not after your recent purchase of what's that little book called again? The Genesis?
The Genesis.
Holy crap.
Well, VOV was €200. But then on Friday night after the Weekender went out, there was a live stream with the guys from Six More Vodka about the Genesis. And while they were talking, I threw another €250 at them. So that's another bunch of books. And then next month will be another €250. And then I think that's me caught up with their books.
I'm guessing at that point you're getting some kind of badge from them? Or
no.
Honorable mention?
Well, the only difference is the Tsar Bomba is everything at once, but not the VOV edition, I don't think. So, it's interesting. It's good. I like it.
Speaking of VOV, which is German for World of Warcraft.
Sure.
Did you see that weird chess game?
Oh, yeah. I've seen it when Free stuck the thing out yesterday and then immediately went and looked at it and went
500 smackaroonies.
Well, depends. 460 if you want the core game. 650 if you want the Onyx edition that has 40 patchwork horrors. 20 patchwork horrors in it. You're going, really? And it doesn't ship outside America anyway, so I don't care. But holy shitballs, they are not hitting a 500,000 target.
No.
They are not. And the fact that they are not hitting a 500,000 target on a game on Kickstarter that's World of Warcraft branded shows how piss poor A, their game is, and B, their marketing has been. Because it's been out for a week.
The marketing must be
horrendous. It's proper Onyx metal. I don't think so, because Onyx is glass. It's not a metal. So, nope.
Yeah.
It may be metal that they've coloured black. I'll give them that.
But the metals didn't get that expensive in recent years.
No. Oh, God, no. Not $150. Well, if you look at it, if they were 28mm figures, $150 for 20. So it's about $78 per figure. If it was like an ogre-sized thing in resin, fair enough. But they are not. And they aren't. Yeah. No, just no. And the world is crying out for World of Warcraft anything. The best way to do it, and I swear to you, I would love to see big real-time strategy, epic scale Warcraft game. We won't see it. It'll never happen. If it gets a miniatures game, it'll be in 35mm or 40mm or whatever the fucking standard 28mm is by that stage with scale creep. But a dungeon crawler, you just go World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is predicated on 5-man dungeons and then 10-man raids, / in the old days 20 or 40-man raids. So you do a dungeon crawler, you have a tank with taunts and stuff, and they have to keep the threat up. You have your crowd control, you have your DPS and your healer, and you do dungeon crawl like people do the dungeons in Warcraft. And if you can get a big group of people together and play a raid, 10 people or 20 people or whatever it is, and have your big raid bosses as fucking kick-ass huge Kingdom Death monster size things to ruffle stomp the shit out of everyone, fucking happy days. Do that. That is literally a license to print money from a company that has been printing money for 15 years, and yet this licensee seems to have screwed the pooch.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like you have had some sleepless nights over this topic.
No, I mean, I've played Warcraft since vanilla, up until, well, I haven't played the recent expansion because, quite frankly, it's gone crap. But there are so many things you could do with it very easily that would keep it both in the world and in theme and make money and provide tabletop gamers with what they want, which is models they can use outside of World of Warcraft for other games.
Yeah, it's somebody on the internet today brought up again the thought of, please make a World of Warcraft or StarCraft game like Games Workshop does. And my initial thought was, oh my god, if Blizzard and GW would actually join forces and try...
Well, I say that.
You know, just being the devil's advocate, it would be a horrible black hole of sucking money from people's wallets.
Yeah. No, I was thinking more from the point of view that they had partnered up and that Blizzard were going to release the real-time strategy game Warhammer, and then GW pulled the license and fucked off, and then Blizzard were sitting there with a real-time strategy game based on humans and orcs and elves and went,
well,
fuck it, Warcraft. And that's where Warcraft comes from. That's why Warcraft and StarCraft are, you know, very similar in broad strokes to 40k and fantasy. There were GW staff members who went to Blizzard in the early days as like production design type people and stuff. GW burnt the bridges on that and then failed massively twice to release an online version once they seen how well Blizzard were doing with Warcraft. I was just like, unlucky.
Twice?
Yeah.
I only can remember one.
Warhammer Online.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one that was due to come out about 4 or 5 years before that. There's White Dwarf that's full of screenshots of squigs and things that just went in development hell for 4 years, took a ton of money, and then disappeared up its own arsehole. So, yeah. I imagine GW would look at that as once bitten, twice shy, but maybe enough time has passed and enough staff members have bounded past through GW by now that there's probably nobody around who remembers anymore. But yeah.
Also, GW has taken the shotgun approach on making video games, so there are so many out there now.
Oh yeah, you just keep messing up the wall. Throw enough shit, something will stick.
Yeah. So our next project then would be Lena. And she already said hi, so hi Lena. She's doing Clash. Now where's my Clash gone?
I quite liked online as well. I played a Dark Elf. There's this button. But it's strange when you look at things like Warhammer, Star Trek and Star Wars, all massive properties with huge fan base, and none of them could make the subscription model work the same as Warcraft. Just goes to show. But anyway, so these ones haven't been stripped yet, but I believe it is the last of the infantry. So next up will be cavalry.
And she's doing a hell of a job again.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Especially the variation of transfers she's using. For dim shields.
Well, you're lucky in that regard. In that there's, I think, 4, maybe 5 transfer sheets, and each one has 12 unique designs on it.
Within the box of the minis?
No, she got them separately, same as I did. You just go to Vitrix and pick them up. So it means you can have potentially 60 men and not replicate a shield design once, I think. Maybe, or 48, at worst 48, because there's at least 4 design sheets. And that, as the man says, is the way to do it. In this case, the man is Ian, the Diomede, who is painting something similar for his Clash/Punic Wars, and he was going, Victrix Shield designs, really good, because then it means people don't notice how clumsily you've painted the miniature behind it, because they're looking at the shields.
Distract. But judging by the size of the eyes she managed to paint, that wouldn't be a distraction at all. More an addition. Nicely done. But only 3 entries since we've last been here.
Well, you know.
But we know how busy she is currently working. So
No, Slack, feel free if, you know, to tell her that they all need to go into Dettol. Apparently there's a new thing that will strip them, not as well as Dettol, but it doesn't have a smell. So
what would that be?
Pete listed it the other day. I've no idea. It's only available in England, so I never really paid attention to it. And it doesn't strip as well as Dettol, so I'm not overly keen on finding it. It's called like All Clear or All Clean or something. You get it from Wilco's or Wilkinson's. Get it from somewhere.
Then we can already jump on, because there's much to say about that fine work she has done.
No, there's not much to say.
And we have a returning guest. Long time no see on weird terrain building.
Yes. We looked at this at the very start, where he was deciding to do a spinny whirly thing. He called out for help. I don't think he got any help, but he ploughed on, and despite my best intentions of telling him to plug it straight in the mains, why do people still say no when I tell them to plug it straight in the mains? He has made a bit of progress. So there's only really the one sort of update about where he's got to. But I'm just throwing it out there again in case people see this and want to give him a helping hand with some of the fiddly technical doohickeys he's working on, like doing step-down motorings and stuff. Feel free to
Blinky 465, please come to the first counter. Blinky 465, please come to the first counter.
But I'm interested to see how it goes when he gets back to it, and actually just get that vertical turbine spinning. So there's a few like that this week, to be fair, which is there's not much in them, but I think they're ones that people should click follow on and keep an eye on, because there's some weird and wacky hits in their future.
And maybe give them a nudge, a token of appreciation for, please continue doing this so we can steal all your progress.
Oh, what he said. Shall we?
Yeah.
A very, very small update to oh my god.
I just need to leave a comment to inspire hope.
No, you leave a comment. I'll let people get this one loaded in, because we've not been here in a little while. And therefore he's opened a whole new front. Clean Spirit, is that what's there? We go. I heard of Dark Age of Camelot. I never played it.
So Piers again, yes. World War 20mm. An endless project. It seems like it.
Not to be confused with Ian's future project or final project or whatever the fuck he's termed it, on the grounds he's 84 and it's probably going to be the last project he ever does. It's just a cheery way of looking at Punic Wars. This is Piers cracking one off. I mean, the British armour's nice, but it's not really why we're here, and you'll see why when you get a bit further down. Once again, as I've said, because we looked at something he'd done in the past and somebody's going, I think it was a Russian tank, and there was words up the side that looked weird. I'm going, I guarantee you Piers can not only say that is correct, he'll probably have the picture to back it up. You can see there the Sherman. However, there's some lovely SS and oak leaf camouflage, which can only mean that it's winter time, and I dread to think where they are.
I love the rusty pattern on the gun shield. It's very good.
Yeah, he's talented, I think is the phrase.
Hold your horses.
Yes. So battle group Stalingrad is on its way, if people are unaware. And since we were last here, Piers has been in well, he's been building Stalingrad, essentially. He's been building Stalingrad, so he's got photographs inside Stalingrad for the book, for the front cover of the book, and for, just generally showing off.
This is the Wargamers equivalent of driving a Humvee.
So is that what it is? He said just... Piers is a small cock. I didn't say that, Piers. He said that. The German said that. Just that one out there, man. I need to talk to him about actually getting him down.
With the board.
Well, he can definitely come down with the miniatures. He can come down with the terrain. I don't know if that board is pack-upable, although he does have boards that are pack-upable. Which would be really nice, because when Tom came over to do Moonstone and brought all the stuff, it was nice because people aren't just seeing us having to set up hills and trees and shit that they've seen before in a new and interesting way. So
I think
it's good. I wouldn't spend too much time on the big picture, because you've got a majority of small pictures coming up where you get really detailed on the buildings.
You know what? I think that isn't the board at all. Because he's got some kind of under paper going all across the table that's beneath.
Yes.
The wooden planks are held together by the means of some wiggly, what do you call them? The parts that...
Worms?
Hinges. That's the word I was looking for.
Sure, could be hinges.
So I'm guessing those are just freestanding buildings, and the rubble is just shoved in.
It's entirely possible. In which case, all he needs to do is
pack a bag of rubble.
Throw it in a bag, yeah. In a similar style to how Warren and Lloyd like their boards to be built. But other people don't do it because it's impossible to game across. However, 20 mil, that's less of a problem. Low centre of gravity, don't tip over. I wonder if he's got the map reference for this part of Stalingrad. I would be surprised if this wasn't based off something in particular.
So some air surveillance photo.
Yeah, or just wartime photo. I'd also like to point out, yes, that is aquarium mix that he's using for the rubble, which is a nice mixture of sand, red and green. When you get up close and personal, you're going, should there be fish swimming through this? Probably. We'll not worry about that. It's all good. Move on.
When people in the trenches have hallucinations from sleep deprivation. Yeah.
Good old WI often do fantastic things. I'm on to my second beer. Tonight's beer is the Coffee Shop of Horrors.
Feed me, Seymour.
Very much so. There's little Audrey there, Seymour.
And Audrey too.
Yep. Audrey too.
I gotta say this. What do you call it? Aquarium mix?
Yeah. Aquarium gravel. I think if you Google aquarium gravel, you'll find it. You can buy it by the kilo for like a couple of pounds in a pet shop here. Presumably, it wouldn't be much different in Germany.
It really looks surprisingly convincing with the red bricks.
Red, the bits of red and green and stuff, because the buildings have painted surfaces. All the buildings aren't just red brick. So you've got greys, you've got greens, you've got whites. So having a little flash of colour in amongst the rubble is perfectly fine. It's a good way of doing it.
Especially when you think that buildings of that era were made of mostly red brick, but then had a lot of other substances.
It's not weed, but it does say it's a plant-based white breakfast stout. So this is a replacement for a nutritious breakfast or something like that. What's it they say?
3 beer or a schnitzel.
Can help you lose weight as part of a nutritious breakfast. That type of thing. Anyway, we'll see what it's like in a minute.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah,
I'm lost for words.
He's a terrible, terrible, terrible bastard. We could go on and on for it, because I've avoided this for some time during the Spring Clean Challenge, because we were focused on Spring Clean, but Piers has been relentlessly chucking the stuff out for Stalingrad, which I think is due to come this month. And then I don't know if they've announced it yet, but Italy is coming later on this year. So Monte Cassino and the like. So I want to get him up to just do some battle grip, because I don't think we've ever done battle grip on camera.
Oh no! He did an oopsie.
When
Yes.
he painted the center red.
No, not only that.
What
That's
a cat.
a circle. And that's not. That's a diamond shape. Oh! Oh!
Just tell him to strip it. Tell him to get it in the dental.
You need to redo this, mate, now. We can't unsee this. I'm sorry, Piers. No, I'm not.
He explains in the text why he's done that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like people who have actually explanations.
The photo was taken near the River Val in Nijmegen. You can see the seahorse badge, blah, 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 blah. However, mine will be in Normandy. So it's not the same tank. It's a similar tank, but he's moved it. He's moved the theatre it was in and the company it was attached to, and that's why it doesn't have the diamond.
He
Because
doesn't
diamond,
even
square, circle, diamond, and triangle are the four shapes that were used to mark British armour in platoons.
He doesn't even let us have that.
Of course not.
To nag him.
He is a stickler. A stickler, I say.
Horrible person he is.
Yep, when we can all tell him that in person when I get him up.
Oh, hello, Rumble. Didn't see you come in there. Nice work on your bot war box, which I'm still very much.
Spoilers!
Spoilers?
Well, now people know you've seen his bot war box, so we can't tell people this tightly scripted half hour is completely, apropos of nothing. It's all loose. Now they'll realise that we do all this in advance.
We did his box 2 weeks ago.
We did. However, I've got his box at the end to finish us off as well, because he's got all the finished pictures, which he didn't post the night after us, which was the last. So presumably that was because he was uploading them for the competition and thought better of wasting his time uploading it on OTT. But I'm not holding that against him.
Next up then,
Might hold it
Romano
against him.
British for Dux Britanniarum by Curas. I think that tongue twister had been with us before.
It's only a tongue twister for you, my friend.
Indeed. And it's a
Warfrip,
small
all for
update.
Warfrip Demon. It is a small update. There's a second update that was the same as the first update, so he's deleted it. But you can have everything. However, it is nice to see. I do like those footsore. I believe they're Saxon archers, rather than actually being late Roman types. But they look well, nevertheless. I've got their Viking equivalent.
It's a weird basic choice, but the painting is nice.
It's because they don't rank up. It's a skirmish game. I've got a rake of those bases somewhere. Not for individual figures, but for cavalry. And they're it's to give you the skirmish feel, so they don't look regimented, but at the same time, the weird shape the movement tray is in actually will jigsaw together with others. So you can tessellate them into bigger units, which is nice. But yeah, nice set. I keep looking at them thinking I should paint mine.
But I think you have a lot of other things to paint currently.
I want to get my ogres painted by the end of the month. That's my current.
What?
Get my ogre.
But-
It's only been 8/9/10 years. Get them done.
Oh, and speaking of, we crossed the 100 subscriber mark on YouTube. Huzzah!
Awesome. And by we mean you.
Yes.
Oh,
Me, myself, and
or
I.
Prost.
Which means now I've got the very easy to remember URL of www.youtube.com/c/somedude on YouTube. Huzzah!
Wow. Is that easy to remember? I've
It's
forgotten
a
everything that
lot.
comes after the
It's a lot
www
easier
does.
to remember than the URL I had before.
Yeah, fair enough then. Can't argue with that. Well, you can. German logic will strike us down.
Next project, please.
Oh, look!
Oh, look!
In. Ah!
Someone with a lot of helmets. Are these
I
riding?
feel like I should wear mine, but it's in the
camels?
roof loft and I can't be arsed. It's very hot. That is camelry, yes. It's important to remember when mounted on a camel, you are camelry, not cavalry. It's also important to remember that horses really don't like camels. Really, a lot.
Why?
I think it's because they've got more knees than any other mammal. Seem to be made up of nothing but knees, and they run towards you biting and spitting, and horses get shit scared.
So you're saying it's knee envy?
Well, it must be. So you can panic I was going to say herd of horses. You can panic a regiment of horses off by charging camels at them. It's particularly good. But after taking some time on Mars, Denzian's back in Africa.
Or are they all just shipped off to Mars?
No, I think the Mars ones are specifically red-based and home guard spiked helmets. There's no reason why some of these guys couldn't end up on Mars. Just saying. If they're particularly shoddy in Africa and the Sudan, then just get them straight up to Mars. I'll fucking harden them.
This looks like a disaster to happen.
What's that?
The one in the rear is shooting his fellow in the back.
It's not shooting him in the back. You can see, you're looking at the bayonet. Look at the rifle barrels going a good 6 inches above his head there.
Oh.
He knows where. They're well drilled. They'll be fine.
Yeah, that's why the one in the rear is having his gun high above his head.
He's about to stab somebody who's coming in. Obviously, you can't see them, just out of shot. Just get ready. Can have at you.
You're almost as good on excuses as my
I am.
daughter is.
There you go. Well done, us. What can I say? Life finds a way.
You didn't say the magic word.
I was watching Jeff Goldblum's first ever performance the other day.
Was it as glorious as the best movie ever?
It's not far off that. He plays an uncredited protester in 3 scenes in an episode of Columbo. Where he's protesting outside an embassy, but you can see him because he's still 6'5" and fucking you can see him from space.
Oh, so he's actually a protester and not a sign.
No. Does carry a sign at one point. You can see him. It's a good episode of Columbo. I like him.
One more question. Oh, tartan. That's something we didn't see in a long time.
A long time. I can't remember if I was rampaging about Bella Ludi and the rifle skirmishy game last week. I think I was ranting on about it. There should have been an article went out this week about it because it was pushed back from last week, because last week was Wild Ascent theme week, so it got pushed to this week. So I told the Dutch it'll be out this week, and then on Monday I was told by Ben he'd moved it again to next week because this week's Infinity. It's like so that'll be going out next week. But I'm looking at it going, I should just paint the white webbing, just blanco up all the British webbing, and then just either get Justin or get Warren. I think Warren would enjoy playing some sort of Zulu war, possibly even a Rourke's Drift, using Bella Ludi rules because they're so fucking simple and quick to pick up. It would hold even his attention. That's my goal.
At some point, he will watch this show.
He knows. He says himself. Jesus, you have to herd him to the table and chain him up to get him to stay there. Before he goes, ooh.
Shiny!
Squirrels off in another direction. But yeah, Danzian's been doing some cracking work once again.
And
he's even got the menu from a local kebab shop on top of those guys. So that's good.
At top, how does he do anything else? Or is he just painting 24/7?
Oh no.
What does he do for a living?
I have no idea.
Inhale fumes?
But he's got a wife, which means he's not painting 24/7. Because I imagine at some point she'll get pissed off. if she'd never seen him, and drag him in. He may or may not be appearing in the chat. We can ask him if he appears. But it's good. It's good. I like it. Very much. Not all of this is painted from scratch. Some bits are stuff that he'd had kicking around for a while and have been revamped, repurposed, and dusted up. Other stuff is brand new from scratch. So, you know,
it's a metric shit ton of
oh,
stuff.
it's gorgeous, isn't it? It is, in the words of that crazy Dutch bastard, the very tight, the very sexual Denzian and his maddest rebellion. Fuzzy wuzzies everywhere. Oh, there's Denzian there. He works in museums.
Oh, so he just sitting around painting images.
Outrageous. I have a friend who works in museums and does stuff in Italy in between writing books on Punic Wars, actually, and early Rome. Nice fella.
Yeah, and just as Crispin has mentioned Epic, sadly, I can't nag AMG this week on their stream about...
Have they cancelled their streams because you keep bitching at them?
Yeah, they actually
Yay.
take this week off.
Sure, that's what they say. Take this week off, and then you just won't come back. Hope nobody notices.
Yeah, I'll be prepared for when they get back. Oh, and speaking of,
Look at it. Look at the cavalry.
hang on.
You're -1 order if you've got horses attempting to charge cavalry in Belarus. Just saying.
Panzer kaputt. Please, would you look at the screen? Look at the screen, Panzer kaputt. Hello.
Oh, it's the Battlefield expansion?
Yeah, for some weird reason, that one escaped my
Right.
collective wrath because
Madness.
That's-
It contains all the stuff like hostages.
that's a piece. For some weird reason, FFG never released a article on. It was previewed months before and then just
Oh no, I blundered.
left off. No, not lucky. Just persistent. A man of will and sheer determination.
Persistent. Like a cum stain.
Even worse. At least when it comes to...
Oh, that looks very familiar. Scroll back down a bit. No, down. The other down.
Last Zulu War unit?
Nope. Bit more. Bit more. There goes that. That looks very familiar. You're not using my rules adaptation, are you? I will say it's great. Just saying it. It is. It's great.
I've printed off these handy unit stat sheet that some bloke did when I finally get around to Rock's Drift.
Good times. Good times. You may find, depending on the size of your game, that firing 4+ is too much, Denzi. It was 5+ originally, but then when I added more units, it was tight at 5+, so I reduced it to 4, and then I added more units. And with more units at 4+, it gives a significant advantage to the British. But considering the amount of shots they had at Rock's Drift, maybe it's not a significant advantage. Maybe it's about right, you know, just saying. Anyway, I've got another set that has them at 5+ instead.
Well, you could use another dice and be more granular.
Could be. Don't worry, I've got my set of I've got my average dice over here. I know, where have I put my average dice? I have average dice over there. So it's a thing.
Well, this could be... I'm thankful for Denzian to make so many pictures into one entry that leaves very little clicking for me. And we're
Want.
on top again. So we could go to the next project.
Sure, let's do that. It's a short one.
League of Infamy.
The League.
Orinoco.
The League
Very
against
slowly.
Infamy. Yep.
A dragon.
Drac on. we'd seen his tiny green Dracons. He's now painted some tiny red Dracons, but he's also started painting a bigger red Dracon.
Oh yeah, I remember the green ones.
Mm.
There, this is where we left off, the base red dragon skin.
Sure, that sounds right to me.
Bless you.
Sneezy.
At some point, I guess we'll have our eardrums explode.
Maybe. I don't know. I did press mute. If it didn't mute, that's not my fault.
We're all getting a 2-second warning. I really like the way he... The paint scheme is simple yet intriguing.
It's nice. It's a nice paint job, especially on what are essentially chaff in a dungeon crawler. The sort of the small things get chucked at people. So it's nice to see them sort of get that level more than just a wash and a dry brush move on. You know, there is a bit of highlighting in there that really sort of stands them in good stead. It sort of picks them up a bit.
I'm guessing they were some kind of...
Put the pencil in the beard, Doug. Don't be cheeky.
I love the way that Free just lost his shit over that. Like, you never did that before on show. No.
I don't think she'd ever seen it. I don't think I'd ever done it while she's been on.
I think she never realized that you're doing it.
They would go behind the ear, but headphones stop that. It's a terrible tendency I have that they automatically go behind the ear, so much so that there have been times in the past where I've had a pencil behind the ear, picked up another pencil, do something, put it behind the other ear. By like automatic, my memory, it remembers there's one behind that ear, so it just puts it behind this. And then I've picked up a third and went, tink! Oh, tink! It's like, whoa, too many pencils. Anyway.
Well, it's better like you're going, where the fuck did I leave my pencils? And your hair's looking like a porcupine.
There's always one behind the ear. But, yeah.
Just like cigarette butts from, what's the...
Nobby Knobs.
Nobby Knobs, yes.
I knew where you were going.
From somewhere there's a...
Speaking of which, you'll be pleased to hear that the watch has managed to make its way across from America to Britain now and is on the Beeb, so it's getting closer to Germany.
Wait. You're starting to scare me. You mean this abomination of a show is being... Well,
It was co-produced / funded by the BBC originally. It was a BBC America show, hence why it's now appeared on the BBC iPlayer in the UK. But I like to think that it's just crossed an ocean to get closer to you.
No.
It's not getting closer to me. It knows I'll cut it if it fucking comes near me. But
for some weird reason, I'm now scared that Amazon will try to snag it up.
they did do Good Omens, but Good Omens wasn't BBC, I don't think. So I think we're okay. But I quite like that. I quite like the purple undertones on the wing membrane.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I don't know what he's used to get that, because you can see the paints there. There's no purple involved. There is a violet ink wash, so it might be that.
I would say it's the violet ink.
But you can just see there's the slight purple tint in the shadow of the membranes, especially where the sort of bone structure would be to support it. I like it. It's good. It's just an extra level of depth. And as we learned from Marco, it's all about contrast. Hey guys!
Hello!
Here. This week, I'm going to be doing something super fantastic, great. Infinity.
And speaking of what is it, glaze medium, I've remembered why I bought this pot of matte medium.
Yep.
I wanted to make myself the Midwinter Mini Magic Mix.
Right.
Which basically is Lamia medium.
Okay. Sure, why not? Go ahead. Is it matte medium, flow improver, and distilled water?
Close. He uses 50-50 mix of distilled water / ionized water, whatever you want to call, 50% medium, and half a drop of washing up liquid.
All right, okay.
So basically 1 part of some kind of surface tension breaking up stuff.
Surfactant is the word you're looking for there.
I'll never find that again.
That's all right. I'll remind you.
Then
That's one way of doing it, certainly. Yeah.
Let's venture on to the next. I almost said video project.
Weirdly, they didn't use any brain matter beige, and therefore they don't get the Hazy Boy golden button of approval.
Maybe we need some kind of stamp as a button on my thingamajig.
Brain matter beige approved.
Yeah, just going stonk.
We just need a BMB positive sign or plus.
Beige.
Boom.
You remember the old in White Dwarf where there was chapter approved?
Oh, the chapter approved, yes, I remember.
And just redo that as brain matter beige approved. Yeah. Stump.
I'll leave that with you. I could use my leak tech skills, but I'm going off tomorrow to get my second jab, so fuck knows what state I'll be in come the weekender.
So you'll probably be laying in bed all day then?
Well, I didn't for the first one, but then also the day after, I jibber-jabbered massively on the weekender, apparently. And I didn't realise this until people started complaining about some of the things I was talking about. Talking about completely wrong centuries while holding up a book that actually had the years on it. You know, fucking, I had no clue what was going on. Let's hope it's not that.
So,
although if it is that, it won't matter, because I won't remember.
Horatio did basings.
Yes.
Via the beam of green stuff. Oh,
so, we had looked at this very briefly, or I'd looked at this very briefly, because his plan was to do something for Saga. No? Nothing? Okay. And there we go. That's better. And there'd just been a lot of text, but we hadn't seen any progress. So, post that, he's actually got round to getting together the stuff for his project. So you'll see there's 4 or 5 entries where it's just talking about what's going on, where he's got the stuff from, the fact that he's gone to Legends of Signum to pick up stuff. Oh, by the way, after Sandator shit themselves, took everybody's money, pissed it up the wall, and then died without ever releasing the new version of Cadwallon or Confrontation, Legends of Sigmund are back to producing the models because they stopped during the Kickstarter. Just throwing that out there. But
that's a lot of resin.
It is
laptop for size comparison.
Sure, why not? There's some sort of pterodactyl type thing. You imagine King Kong would poke him with a stick.
That's an interesting sculpt, that big ape. Oh no.
However, having collected together everything, he's now starting to actually get the basing done in preparation to actually do the miniatures. And I quite like how he's done it. It's similar to, I've done something for Gangs of Rome that's similar, where the movement trays have the texture that the bases have. So you put down a section, you roll the roller over it, then you very gently, while it's still malleable, cut them out and then leave them to cure. And now you have these integral bases and movement trays that look like they're interconnected, and then you can just go ahead and do the rest of the texturing on it. So it's a good way of doing it. I also quite like there's one at the front, just in front of the big oval to the bottom left. He's used, I think, cork to like raise it up. So yeah, that's another good way of doing it.
If you apply this green, I guess this is plain green stuff to MDF, does it stick well, or do you need to make some adjustments?
No, it sticks fairly well. Green stuff, Milliput, Sculpey, they'll all stick, because MDF is incredibly porous. But what you have to do is put it on and roller it on to get it to adhere to the surface.
So actually use some pressure.
Yeah, use a bit of pressure. But once it's on there and you're rolling the roller across the top, that's probably sufficient to hold it in place. Because once that's dry, if you go to peel it up, you're just going to take half the board away. Because MDF just fibers into nothingness. Yeah.
I must say, I've never seen this done in this way before, even though technically I probably have seen the finished result. I'm actually really tempted to give this stuff a go if I had any kind of trace.
Well, you know, it's one way of doing it.
Yeah, and it's a rather simple way of doing it. And also, this way you can actually show them off on a display case in a very coherent way and not looking like you just pushed some figures in it.
It also helps if you're building figures and putting them on the base, they rank up in a specific way. Having the basing done like this beforehand means you know that the guy in the second rank, third from the right, faces in that direction, particularly because of what's on the base. So you won't suddenly end up poking somebody else in the back or putting them on the wrong movement tray and mixing things up. I would number everything underneath because it's been the arse otherwise, but I'll be fascinated to see where this goes because, you know, saga.
Yeah, this is nice. We need to follow this young apprentice.
Don't worry, I am.
Yeah, baby skulls on the board, I've seen.
So many baby skulls.
Next project, please. Person Carpathian. Person Carpathian. Elder Scrolls Call to Arms. Look, alien eggs.
Long time ago, we looked at this when he was doing some spectacular stuff to convert his boards into a version of the computer game. He has not stopped doing this. So we've got a bit of a dungeon. I think we've seen the Bleak Falls stuff already, but the dungeon parts are exciting and new, which comes from a variety of places, including,
Modifius.
Well, Modifius do the game. I don't think they do the.
Oh, they do.
The walls.
They do some
do they?
terrains, yeah.
Oh, well, maybe they do then. But it's a lovely set of dungeon pieces.
Yeah, they are basically one-to-one replicas from the video game. This is so creepy.
Look, there's a skeleton glitching. There's only half of him there. The other half's buried in the wall. Ha ha!
Yeah, but that's no skeleton. It's a Draugr.
You only think that.
No, that's what it says when they start getting out of their tomb.
Yeah,
and attack
he hasn't
you.
got up yet, though, has he?
Not
He's
yet.
Probably just a skeleton. You're probably fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, not taking any risks.
Kill everything.
Yes,
Kill the children in case they become Draugrs when they die.
exactly. Leave nothing on the table. Burn everything.
I have to say that breakfast stout, that is Moorish. The coffee shop of horrors. You could have a couple of those in the morning. It's only 5.6% as well. It's not bad. I like it. It's the oats that make it taste mega.
I really like this piece terrain he did. He's a talented one.
Everything he's done. I mean, I've never played Elder Scrolls, so I can't say whether or not it's accurate to the computer game, but I played Morrowind. So I find his stuff less triangular than it should be. But, you know, kind of everything.
I just thought to myself, would that be a viable game option for some PlayStation 1 era video games on a tabletop represented the exact same way the miniatures had been in the video game?
It would be fucking amazing, wouldn't it?
Imagine.
People go, look at the loss of these. I can't believe somebody's charging £12 for this Lara Croft figure. It's all just triangles.
Yes. Oh, my thoughts exactly. Or some kind of Carmageddon or such things with weird blocky cars.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't for that game. You wouldn't need to make miniatures. You could simply get off with papercraft.
No, you couldn't.
Why not?
Because nobody's got that much time to glue those angles. So many angles to glue. Could you imagine how fiddly that would be?
Yeah.
Did we look at the phaser? Did we look at the papercraft phaser last week?
Yeah, we did.
Imagine doing that, but in 28mm scale, trying to fold the tiny trapezoid breasts.
No, I wasn't talking about
Tomb Raider.
Papercraft, Lara Croft, Papercraft car war games.
Yeah, sure, do them. Why not them?
But-
Why not them?
But the PlayStation 1 Lara Croft paper bust would be interesting.
It's doing that thing where it's all the fucking head. This is Midnight Sun, by the way, if anybody's drinking along at home.
What scale is it?
It's 5.5 scale. A classic spiced porter that pours as black as the midnight sun. That makes no sense. The sun is always very bright all the time.
Even at midnight.
Unless we're talking about the fact it's a black body on the infrared spectrum. In which case that is very black. Who would have thought that the advertising for this porter would be so in depth for astrophysics?
Maybe someone who was responsible for doing the advertisements has a degree in astrophysics and now is stuck in doing poor beer adverts.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me.
Next project then, please. Spear. Macrocosm Dicker Corps. Or
The
as
graft
I'd like to call them, squats.
You may call them squats. You do you. So Macrocosm, anybody who's a fan of the show will probably have heard Macrocosm before anyway. Lots of squats, lots of floating balls, floating ball-based games. Also does a lot of casting for other smaller companies. Thoroughly nice bloke who runs Macrocosm, whose name escapes me, and I can't be arsed reaching up to the book there that says his name. So, tough. However, here we have a whole host of the bestunted ones, which are being put together. Shockingly not for a game of chess, I don't think, despite the fact that he keeps showing it on a chessboard.
I love the color scheme he had chosen for these.
Yeah, going for the UN look, which is a good look for squats in space, I have to say. And I mean, this, I imagine there'll be more to come, but as of yesterday, it's pretty complete for what he had there to begin with. So,
This is one of these
look, that guy's
ranges
got
of
monocular.
miniatures where you just look at them and think to yourself, this is how I imagined squats to look like if the castings would have been any better.
You know, I had squats in lead back in the day, and the castings were that good. Castings were lovely.
Maybe I've just seen poorly painted ones.
You may have done. No, I mean the castings were very nice. Even the plastics, the good old squat army, £6 of anyone's money for 30 squats. Huh? Amazing. That's good. Going to use them for Stargrave. I presumably not use them as his crew in Stargrave, unless that's options. That's a lot of fucking options. But I do think using them as the pirates in Stargrave could be good. So when you're starting to play and all of a sudden the pirates appear and you get your ass kicked off the board by a bunch of space dwarves, I'll be all for that.
Yeah, and just look at the nice paint job he's done on these plasma
Oh, yeah,
gun
it's
looking
lovely.
things.
I imagine Millie taught him how to do that. She seems to have her head screwed on. They have that classic look. With
Very
the
much.
colourful guns and the colourful quilted flak armour.
Though he does strike a great balance between realism and
And
comic-like.
nostalgia. Yeah.
That's really a nice one. I'd be very much surprised if Ben didn't already used a very large pencil to write golden button over all this.
Don't know. He put the golden buttons up today. I had no influence on the golden buttons this week. Well, I haven't bothered looking at them yet. It'll be a nice surprise for me on Thursday.
Yeah, these are very nicely done. Would be a shame if something would happen to them.
Well, that's nice. Well, if you can get Midnight Sun, go ahead. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you can't get Midnight Sun. I think all the things I'm drinking are from, like, local. Oh, Midnight Sun, Scotland. From the William brothers. So some people may be able to get it.
Well, that's still very much local for you.
Soap Dodger. If you can get Midnight Sun, it's a spicy porter. It's good. Give it a go. It's when they say spicy, it's not spicy hot. It's like ginger and Christmas spices and nutmeg. Anyway.
Next project then, please.
Sure. I don't know where we are.
Deadly
There.
Egyptian mythology.
Oh,
display.
that one. Oh, that's a great one. Now, this is one of these, there's nothing in it yet type of things, but you should follow it.
Oh yeah, I've seen him teasing it in the Weekender thread.
Sure.
He's taking a dip into gold leaf.
Yeah. So essentially, every time Raging Heroes do a Patreon, they do these really beautiful alabaster ivory figures with gold and then a contrast color red or blue or whatever. And we've all looked at them, and I think one of them, like a Greek one recently, somebody went, wouldn't it be excellent if somebody had painted a set or made a set like that, because they're all 3D prints. So Dan's doing just that. He's using the Train Tutor's book, so he's using Mel's book to do a diorama shelf wall insert thing, which will use the whole spectacular 3D printed scenery that you get with the Patreon when you do it. Like it's totally impractical for wargaming, but then he's printed everything in ivory or alabaster, whatever you want to call it, and then he's going to use the gold leaf to do the gold, and presumably then he'll go in and do a contrast wash or something to do the other, because he's already got the base coat with the ivory. You don't need to be clever with the contrast color. You can do that relatively simply.
If we look at the project picture on top, that's the render from the
so that's
Patreon.
the render, which we constantly see these renders and they look spectacular, but you're going, could you do that? And apparently somebody's going to give it a go. I'm interested to see how it turns out. Gold leaf is a bit of a bastard to use.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And particularly messy. So adhesive goes down, gold leaf goes on, brush off the excess, and then buff like Billio to get it to look flat, flush, and seamless.
Yeah.
But then you scoop up all your scrapings of gold, because it is real gold. You don't want to turf that on the floor, and then more glue and reapply. So I've never used gold leaf outside of an art class about 30 years ago. And I seem to remember then that it pissed me off so much I swore I would never use it again. So actually seeing somebody going in and doing this could be one of the most impressive things ever. Or could be a monumental expense waste of time. Time will tell.
Watching the XLBS, you made me laugh and the gold leaf went everywhere.
Nearly sucked into my PC. Oh, I'm sure that would be totally fine, because everybody knows that gold is particularly unconductive, and having it fluttering around inside a PC would be grand.
Laying flat on all those traces on your motherboard will be totally fine. Don't worry.
Since you're there and you're talking, are you going to use solid colors, or are you going to use a contrast for the color? Let's put it like that. You've got ivory, you've got gold, and you've got color.
And why didn't you use some shiny gold color like Vallejo or something?
I think not using gold. I think actually using gold leaf cuts out a lot of the assing around, to be brutally honest. I mean, you're there. Looking at that Egyptian display picture they've done, though, that has some more intricate details and additional colors than a lot of the other ones previously have had. I see silvers, I see reds and stuff. I see Lara Croft, but without triangular boobs.
So she's an imposter.
She's just beside the Y in display. Anywho.
Yes, 12 different colors of gold leaf. Well, that will be an interesting one then.
Wow.
Venture on then, onto the next project.
Onwards and downwards.
On to Richmond.
Richmond? You mean Tom Greenway from Gun King Games?
I think Bob is his name.
All right. You say Richmond, and all I think of is the filth really helped me out when I was going through some terrible times.
A while back, on Sundance's Unofficial Hobby Hangout, Gary wondered if
That's
I
this
would
one.
use
Yes.
any of Callistra's 12mm ACW range to bulk up my army. Well, I think we can say, yes he does.
Correctamundo, mother funsters, he screams while flicking the V's. So, ACW using Warlord's 12mm / 15mm / 13.5mm, I don't care anymore, mil, plastics, and supplementing it with Callistra metals for some more unique pieces of equipment. So there's a Parrot gun, which explains a Parrot gun is a rifled barrel, unlike the smooth bore cannons. So it's not smaller, it's supposed to be like that. More accurate. But interesting to see.
Oh, I love this naval interlude.
We've not been here in a while. I've been here because that's all button mashed for me. This is why I need to stop going in and looking at stuff. So we did a Ironclad that was kicking around Sarissa's site for reasons best known to himself. Presumably it's because at some point he wants to run a game of Sahara with Matthew McConaughey attempting to find the Confederate Ironclad in the middle of the Sahara Desert filled with gold.
Was there a movie about something like that?
There was a movie about that. There's a whole book series about it, and like a massive Bond-like book series, many books. And McConaughey bought the rights to the series, and then he did the first one, thinking it would take off like Bond or Mission Impossible, and it kind of flopped, which is a shame because it's not terrible. It's cheesy, but it's good fun. However, that aside, we have Confederates.
Did I mention that I nearly lost 2 hours of my life?
No. Is it the heroin again? Because I told you need to cut that back.
No, it was something else you told me about not to do.
Okay.
I did watch Warcraft the movie.
Oh, that's a bad mess.
But it ran in the background while I was assembling some Adeptus Mechanicus terrain.
Probably the best way to do it. Don't think about it. It doesn't really exist. You're fine. We're all fine here.
How best to describe it to the ones who haven't seen it? It's
God
interesting.
awful. Is how I would describe it. If you have no knowledge of Warcraft beyond the fact that it's a thing that exists,
which basically is my current state of mind.
Just watching a fantasy movie, it is at best, I think, a mediocre fantasy movie. There's some bits in it that you're just going, why is this happening? Why is the wizard up there on his griffin waiting for his son to die on the wall he created, and then sweeps down and picks the body up? Surely he could have swept down and grabbed him while he was still alive, instead of watching him die and watching his dad fail like 4 times to get through the barrier. It's just so bad. Cheese-tastic. Anyway.
Yeah, it's and the teeth from the half-orc lady absolutely don't look like some plastic card she's having in her mouth.
Could be that. Could be that. However, getting back on track, here's the outlaw Jersey Wheels, which means his regiment, I imagine, is coming from Missouri. But it's nice if people are not into the American Civil War. I'm not. Kind of. I'd like to be. I'd like to spend some time getting to the ACW. I never have to date. But there's some interesting fights. There are fights that are more like World War One, and then there's some fights that are more like Napoleonic era. because they sat at that juncture between the two where the technology was getting more like the industrialized warfare of the First World War, but generals still didn't know how to apply it and were still thinking in terms of lines and squares and columns of the Napoleonics. So there are some particularly interesting fights where people fought the wrong way with the wrong weaponry, and then other ones where it swung massively the other direction because they started to think outside of the old constraints. So yeah.
Just look at this small box containing all these miniatures.
Oh, on the subject of tiny fighting men, Steve, you're in the audience. Steve, not the other, Toros, Steve. So I'm going to be playing Nick from Irregular Wars in tiny fighting men scale. Week after next. No, fuck it. Next week. Next Friday. I'm going to be playing a 10mm fantasy game using Fantastic Battles, which will go out on the channel probably sometime later on this year because, Jesus, there's so much stuff happening in July. There's no time left. And then August, it's getting very full already. But we will be filming it, and as soon as we get a chance to get it out there, we'll get it out there. So yeah.
And speaking of F10mm, today I watched one of my favorite German YouTubers who had his first game of Man o' War.
Wow.
And he said, quote, "One of the best games Games Workshop have ever done," end quote.
Presumably then they weren't playing with Sea of Blood or Plague Fleet's additional rules.
No, they're just plain simple Man o' War.
Yeah. Because
And
whenever you start adding in those rules, Man o' War becomes shit very quickly. Or not shit. Man o' War becomes one-sided to certain fleets very quickly.
and the best thing is the guy who brought the game to teach him how to play only had the rules and the boxes but no miniatures. He had rebuilt a high elf fleet and a dark elf fleet via the means of papercraft.
Oh, awesome.
And they looked very nice.
I'm not looking out the window. I'm just trying to get more air because, Jesus, this room is so hot. I might die tonight.
Well, we're on the finishing stretch. Next project.
That won't help me because I know what's coming next, and it's a big one.
144 artist populates the Democles sector or creating a system-agnostic science fiction miniatures collection.
That's
So-
what he said.
Basically, he's showing off.
He's kind of showing off. The interesting thing for me is that he's building up stuff from Antonosity's workshop. I funded this original Kickstarter and I've never got around to building these buildings, and I see Antonosity's has replaced some of the MDF and HDF parts with acrylic and they look great. And now I'm going, oh fuck, should I go back and buy more in this orange, white, black leitmotif and get all the, because I mean those acrylic side pieces and all look stunning. Mine's all just
Maybe
MDF, so I'm going to
maybe
have to colour all
there's-
the edges and stuff.
maybe there's an upgrade pack to
No.
just the acrylics.
There is not, because I looked.
Well,
But ignoring Antonosity's sexy terrain, which I got for Infinity, and then I never played Infinity because I hadn't built any of the stuff I got for Infinity. But some people may recognise cars that were doing donuts around Justin in in the Stargrave games. So it's a whole host of things. So Antonosity's scenery, including scattered train and cars, some Mantic, Brocker, dwarves, doing donuts out in the street. It's all good. It's a beautiful, beautiful setup with a whole host of terrain and figures from a variety of places. I just really like to see it built. It looks great.
yeah.
Maybe next week I'll show you what I managed in the 8 years or whatever it is since that funded, which is not even a third of the base of one building built. It's behind the curtain. You'll never get to see it.
But you're at a tactical advantage. Should you ever need to move, it's still
Yes.
packed.
Oh, is that an advantage? I'm not planning on moving from here.
If you ever
Here I stand and here I die, I think is the phrase.
If you ever need to flee the country.
Oh, yeah, fleeing the country. Now that makes more sense. However, after the buildings, don't know if you were here with me before, after the buildings, because there's a few more in there showing stuff he bought during the Antonosities sale. Antonosities at one stage was going to scrap all the physical products and go PDF, or not PDF, what do you call PDF but for printer people?
Or just
STDs?
No,
STLs.
STLs, yeah.
They were going to go STL only because they didn't think they could keep running and had a big sale to clear their actual physical stock. And I'm so happy they didn't. That they still produce physical things like those buildings that you can buy and the resin things. All the little resin computer desks and stuff for the Stargrave objective markers were all shit I got from Antonosities.
Cyber Doggo.
Look at it. Look how cheeky and cheerful it is. Look, it's a massive sniffer snout on it for pursuing people into the depths. Especially because you can have a dog in Stargrave, so that's handy.
You can?
Yeah.
As a sort of weapon or just as a companion?
No, you can take it as a crew member. I give Justin one.
Did
Tiny
he use
vicious
it?
bastard. Oh yeah, well, he had no choice.
Oh yeah, you were writing the list, if I remember correctly.
I wrote 2 lists, and I wrote 2 decent lists. And then despite the fact he spanked my ass in both games, he bitched about the list I'd wrote and handed to him. It's like...
For what reason?
I can't remember. I think he thought he was on the losing side at one point, and then was bitching that he had nothing to do with the list, and then went on to ruffle stomp my fucking force. So, now to be fair, he did cheat with his captain, but apart from that...
Yes, I did win, but I don't know why, and that makes me angry.
But yeah, it's a stunning amount of stuff here.
Yeah, I don't think we've been here before, because this is all new to me.
You keep saying that. I have, because a lot of these things already have points on them for me. It's probably because he's using Dead Zone terrain, is why I've been here.
And handcrafted terrain, obviously.
Yeah.
Which just shows you that science fiction terrain is basically just some geometric forms with greebly bits on it.
Greebly bits are the way to go.
Oh, October. Well, the initial planning phase. There we were here.
I've not watched Frank Crispin, although I do know it exists. That's the Gleason brothers.
Frank of Ireland sounds like some weird of comedy.
Probably. Let's face it.
Something like Frankenstein Jr., American Werewolf.
How do you like the Mantic Dwarf? Either Dead Zone or Kings of War? How do I like them? I have about 4,000 points of Kings of War dwarves. And Dead Zone / Warpath, I've got somewhere in the region of 3,000 to 4,000 points. I don't mind them. I know some people do. I don't mind their squat little heads. Their tiny little bullet helmets on them. Yes, they're very squat and practically 2-dimensional. Well, they're not 2-dimensional. They're very static poses, which is where Mantic were at when they were doing them. Same with the Undead. The Undead look better, I think, overall. But their newer stuff that they've done especially for the Forge Fathers for Warpath, the plastics for that, are particularly nice. The Huskarls and the standard Forge Fathers. I'm trying to remember what they're called. Steel Warriors? Yeah, let's say Steel Warriors. They're nice. They've moved the plastics along quite a bit. The old plastics I have just become militia, which is fine. So I'm not particularly worried about it. The Brockers, like the biker that is in that picture that you're seeing on screen at the moment, I really like the miners, the Brocker clan or guild. They do what everybody thinks dwarves do, which is mine in space, but they don't look like fantasy dwarves in space. They look like,
Cyberpunk dwarves.
Yeah, it's cyberpunk dwarves based on there's one guy with a little remote control and a mini mining drill slash laser thing that he drives forward and explodes shit like a German Goliath demolitions device from World War II. Just wheel it forward and blow it up. So I quite like them. I don't mind them. I can see why people don't like them. I think when you see them all ranked up, and there've been a few people who've done full armies of them, they look spectacular. So I can take the fact that they're samey in the grand scheme of things. But
yeah, but I think there has to be something very terribly wrong with a line of miniatures to have no right to be on the table.
yeah, not many people make. Yeah, well, we've seen the metal ones from Macrocosm. Hassle-free do a line of metals called the Grim, which are very nice. Somebody else did plastic Space Dwarves recently, which I can't remember now. I will muse on it as I finish this drink and look through more projects.
And I would go out on a limb and say there is possibly more than one doing STL files for them.
Oh yeah. I imagine there's hundreds doing STL files, but I stay away from those. But yeah, not many people. The Mantic are, in the respects that Ronnie is in charge of Mantic, and Ronnie's a big dwarf fan, is probably their saving grace there. That dwarves and space dwarves will always get a shout because Mantic is run by a man who loves dwarves, which is very handy.
Next project then. AOH. What does that stand for?
Age of Hannibal.
Okay. Big stompy elephants.
So this is one for people just to subscribe to now. There's only one post in it. But you want to get in on the ground floor, as I say, because Zoid is going to be doing a 6-point Hannibal Punic Wars force using the Celtiberians. However, he's also using a cheaty ruse that allows him to swap between the Celtiberian and Gaul battle board in the game, which is just particularly cheeky. But you can see there what he's using for his 6 points. So he has some warriors, mounted Hearthguard, mounted warriors, Gallic and Iberian on foot as well. And then he's got Balearic slingers as mercenaries. So a nice mixed bag of stuff, with the ability to flip between battle boards when he needs it. Fireforge are doing dwarves, but not space dwarves.
At some time in the future, historians will dig out somebody's army that is based on coins and go, WTF, what were they doing?
Well, so we were talking about you at the very start. I can't remember what we said. I think it was mostly offensive.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Oh no, I remember. I remember we were talking about you.
Big dicks.
Midnight Sun is brewed in Scotland by the Williams brothers. You should try it. It's a porter. It's quite nice. I think I told you that already in the past, but you'd have to go back and watch it to see it.
So next up,
oh, War Games Atlantic, Crispin, you fucking legend. That is the other people who are doing plastics, which I should know because I unboxed them. The Einherjar, or Einherjar. They're a lovely set, actually. Very nice.
Weren't those the ones with the weird large heads?
No, not really. No.
Oh, I must confuse them. But I don't unbox, so. Next project, then, please.
I think they will, Crispin. I can find out that War Games Atlantic are a partner, so we actually contact them quite often. So our last of the night, which you spoiled earlier by saying hello to Rumbly-8.
Spotswars. The end, he says.
Yep, he does say that.
This
like
is the end.
Jim Morrison, I was about to sing that.
My only friend. The end.
We share a brain cell.
But
So,
only
yeah.
one. I can't spare anymore.
So we had seen most of this, but we hadn't seen the end of it. Please note he is in no way sponsored or affiliate with Bot Wars or Traders Galaxy. He's just a fan of the game.
Not yet.
It's the same as me. I got called a corporate shill for talking about the Genesis on the Weekender by some twat on YouTube.
Yeah, but
who can go fuck himself.
You-
And
you
I
ha-
told
you
him
have
that
your-
in no uncertain terms.
You have your account ledgers to show that you actually
It
paid
won't
for
make
your
it
stuff.
the fact I've fucked 450 quid at them in the past 4 weeks means nothing. Because he'll go, you'd say that. Clearly they've sent you that stuff. Shill. I'm surprised they didn't just go the whole hog. Tell him I'm part of the fucking George Soros' conspiracy to get him to wear a mask to hide his ugly fucking face. Oh, but anyway.
There's only one thing I actually have to bitch and moan about on this project.
Right? Because
The
he may or may
very-
not still be. There he is.
The very lack of Lloyd shots.
The 70, well, there he is. He's talking at the moment. You can tell him. The Genesis 75mm scale stuff are amazing. They're based on 3 characters. 2 of them are from the trailer that we showed. By the way, that was a cut down trailer because there's like bum footage in the actual trailer, and then he shoots up with medicine before he goes out.
What?
And Lloyd cut all of that out of the trailer.
Why?
So because it
Why?
doesn't offend people on YouTube. So it's worth having a look at the full trailer is only 90 seconds long, and then there's a different trailer that's like 3.5 minutes long about a family. But that guy with the sword is called Thalberg, who's like the poster boy for the battalions, and he's one of the 75mm figures. I ordered a T-shirt with him on it last week. So it'll be nice to see, assuming it's not soaking, because that unholy rain that they had in Berlin over the weekend flooded the warehouse where all the fucking Dead Genesis stuff is. So it's like, I hope it didn't flood the fucking shelves, because if those books are flooded, I'll cry. Anyway. But yeah, these are amazing. Did I mention I'm stealing your color schemes, by the way, Rumbly 8? Because Anthony goes, it'd be nice, if you could do some Let's Plays. I'd love to do some Let's Plays. I'll send you some stuff then. What do you want? I fucking no idea. You wrote the game.
What?
Send us 2 armies that look cool. So one of them was the Atlanticans.
What was his name? Andy?
Anthony.
Anthony, just in case you're watching, I'd like to do a Let's Play for myself too. Can't hurt to try.
Hope springs eternal.
Yes.
So once I've got this. I showed this to Tim earlier. Spoilers for what I'm doing in the next couple of weeks. I've got the Cromlech big giant stompy orc death stomper that I'm going to put lights and smoke machine into in a blinky styly, only probably badly. Assuming the smoke comes out without setting it on fire, that's going to be my goal. But once that's done, so that's probably 2 weeks work. As soon as that's out of the way, I immediately have to do oak and iron, but that's a relatively small set of ships, and then I'm on to 2 bot war factions, because I want to do some Let's Plays on camera, sort of August, September time. The problem is people go, we're going to send you such and such. You're going, great. It's going to be 4 weeks before I can look at it. 3 weeks after that, I'll finally film it, and then it'll be another 3 weeks before an editor can edit it, and then we have to find space in the schedule. It's not. OTT is like a fucking barge. It does not turn on a pin, unfortunately, which is annoying, because you get things and people are going, any word? You go, yes. Stop asking me, you fucks.
I would be really disappointed when you do a bot war battle report Let's
You're
Play
welcome
thing,
to come over.
and Lloyd
just be me.
doesn't take the chance to make some weird transitions between the turns, like in the Transformers. Yeah.
D. Oh, that'd be good. No, because it would be Justin editing them, and he
Aw.
doesn't tend to do
Oh,
fun things like that. He's
Aw.
very, let's do it as quickly as possible with the minimal effort.
and here you see my soul escaping my body.
Although now I'm thinking about it, I wonder if I could just convince. It would mean convincing Lloyd that he can go into a room with another human being and not get the virus, which is tricky because he is very OCD, as people know. but I think if we could get Lloyd on camera for anything, it should be Bot Wars.
Fighting robots on the telly.
Fuck yeah! Not only yeah, but fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
I don't know.
wars.
We've got the Valiants, we've got Atlanticans, and I think he sent us something else. I don't know. I've got to go through it and do an unboxing on them
The
first.
rule book, hopefully.
I got a PDF of the rulebook
Okay.
because the rulebook hadn't been printed when he was sending this stuff. So the Turbo edition has just come out. Obviously, I have the rulebook from the last edition from the first set he sent, which came weirdly. We never even talked about this. We got a box load of stuff through from Mantic to review and unbox some Armada bits and pieces and some Kings of War stuff, and in it was Bot Wars. And I was like, is Mantic distributing Bot Wars? What's going on here? And there was nothing about it. It's just like Ronnie put a little card in going, hope you guys are all keeping well. Speak to you soon. Lots of love. Bye, Ronnie. I was like, I have no contact with Ronnie, so I contacted Rob Berman from Mantic going, are you distributing Bot Wars? And Rob goes, no, I thought Ronnie would have put a message in. He just put a message in going, I love you guys, bye. Going, fucking nothing. No, he was over in CanCon, a big Australian convention, and Anthony was down for that and give him the game and said, blah, 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 do whatever, pass it across to Beast of War guys if you can. So Ronnie brought it back in his hold luggage from Australia. And
forgot to add the note that it's
and
from.
then shipped it over to us, and it was just here it comes. Because it was the weirdest fucking most circuitous route ever. I go, oh yeah, fuck it, great. Because I'd seen bits and pieces. I think we'd already talked about it by that stage. But obviously Ronnie had just been going, yeah, I'll do that. Don't steal my hat.
Yeah, this.
No, he did. I went. The Trashers are going to be the next big thing. It would be great to play Trashers. But when he bundled the stuff together, he hadn't even started casting the Trashers. Otherwise, because it's just, in fact, they're so new. I think they're only just coming out now. And I was going, oh, the Trashers would be amazing. It's going, yeah, it won't be happening. Going, oh well. So we did get somebody big. I almost feel like going next door to see what I've got, but I can't be arsed. It would just distract me. And then my room would be a mess. More than it is now. It's already a mess. So yeah, so Atlanticans, Valiants, Deceivers. So I think we've enough to make 3 full factions between the core set that he'd sent in advance and then the new bits, and then it's just a case of doing it. I don't think he sent anything else. It's nice though. He did send some of the human-sized people, so we've got the little 6mm bases of guys as well. So it's not just all giant stompy robots. It shows the sort of the gradient scale between humans and giant stompy robots. So it'll be fascinating to see how that goes. Did you see the first issue of the Bot War bi-monthly magazine?
No.
This is just a chat between me and Rumble now. The rest of you can fuck off. So it's for like $1.50 you can download this bi-monthly magazine. This is the prototype copy, the first edition. If it doesn't work, there won't be another one. But if it does work and people get it, there'll be another one in September. So it's going to contain stuff mostly about Bot Wars, but about the other games as well. Articles, scenarios, stories, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's great. Really good magazine. Are you looking through stuff? You looking at the Trashers?
No.
You should be looking at them in Sweden.
No.
Much cheaper for you. Just saying.
Not really. Yeah.
Do.
And for it being such a new game, he has churned out a fuck ton of miniatures.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
And I like that he's so consistent in his style.
Well, he's managed to get his hands on some sculptors who know where they're at, and now casters who can do a very good job as well. So it's just getting stuck in there.
Speaking of casting, is it more easy to do these kinds of miniatures? With a lot of rectangular shapes?
No. Curves are best. Anytime you get a square angle or a sharp angle, you run the risk of either a bubble in the sort of the corners or tearing when you pull it out. The best thing you get would be a very smooth sort of ellipse or curve.
So a football, basically.
Yeah. So the more angles and sharp defined lines in it, the more chances of loss of detail or damage to the mold when you're ripping it out, especially with undercuts.
For some weird reason, my mind was, doing something like a dice would be very easy. So robots should be even more easy compared to a humanoid.
It depends where the lines are. If it was just a very static object, like a six-sided shape, like a cube, it wouldn't be too bad because you could do it down the seam down an edge, but then you've still got the seam running through two faces. So I suppose you could, well, if you put it in through a corner so you don't have a seam on a face, that might work, but then it makes your mold more of a pain to pull from. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. But as you have said, that was the last
no, I've
project
accidentally
of the day.
put the Swedish thing in there. Oh God. Oh no.
I'm not looking at the screen.
No.
No. And I
No.
totally not have bookmarked that.
Just checking.
And I for sure have not told my wife about it. If Blinky starts making transforming robots for Bot Wars, there will be a riot on my side of the pond.
Well, you know, that's the problem. I imagine you've seen the interview where it was literally as part of his masters, he had to start up a company, and rather than do a fictional one, he thought, "Fuck it, I'll just do a real company instead."
Yeah.
You know, the most surreal way of starting a company.
Yep.
I'll do this for credit in my fucking doctorate. So yeah.
But obviously, he did it the right way.
Yeah, well, you know, that my favorite thing is the people going, "Oh, Hasbro will be after you." You go, "No,
No, it's a generic form.
Yeah, people don't seem to understand that.
And also, Hasbro themselves have bought these robots. They are not of their design. Most people don't know that. The initial wave of Transformers was a quickly assembled batch of transforming robots they bought from Japan.
Tell you what, there's a lot out of stock in Sweden. You should probably get your skates on if you're bunting some stuff. Oh man, he sent the Bot War City map, Rumbly it. The cardboard thing, and the Australian Post, because they're pricks. There's a massive fucking crease in the box. I haven't even opened the box to see what the mats look like what the cardboard sections look like, but it looks like somebody put it over their knee and just went. Argh!
People are the worst.
As a friend, a German friend actually, once said, "Treat everybody nicely, or I'll treat you like the Australian Post treats resin miniatures." I mean, the Australian Post have form for this. They're cunts. Terrible, terrible cunts. But yeah, we should definitely go. I've got to get stabbed with a vaccination in the morning, so I need to finish a beer and go to bed.
And maybe take a leak before going to bed, because otherwise it would be a very...
It's a good way of getting up early.
With that said,
sometimes that's like 3 in the morning.
Chat, I thank you for being there. YouTube guys, thank you for rewatching this. Hello Lena, just in case we forget, and we will see you again next week. Don't forget, Panzer and I will be on the radio tomorrow on the Discord, and we will be stealing Blinky's topic from the forum, which topic I totally forgot. But he's...
It's something like, is Tiny Fighting Men just make-believe with dice?
And the simple answer is yes. Bye.
Whereas I go the other way, so that's just no.